Bretonnia, formerly known as the Kingdom of Bretonnia, and often dubbed the Land of Chivalry, stands as a formidable feudal realm within the Warhammer universe, nestled between the imposing grey mountains and the vast expanse of the great ocean in the Old World. Bretonnia boasts a rich heritage steeped in martial tradition and noble ideals. Second only to the Empire in size among the realms of men, Bretonnia serves as both a chief rival and closest ally to its neighbour, forging a society deeply entrenched in notions of nobility, hierarchical structure based on aristocratic birthright, and a rigorous adherence to the code of chivalry. Bretonnia's history unfolds through a tapestry of myth, conflict, and migration. In its infancy, the land may have been under the sway of lizard men before the arrival of high elves from Orthion. These elven colonies flourished, but faced turmoil during the War of the Beard, where the dwarves triumphed, leading to a mass exodus of the elves. Years later, fierce tribes of humans, including the Bretonni, migrated into the land, eventually establishing dominance. Through the unification efforts of noble knights, Bretonnia evolved from fragmented tribes into a kingdom. Bretonnia enjoys a milder climate and fertile lands conducive to cultivation. Its extensive forests and untamed wilderness are interspersed with vast plains and valleys, serving as the domains of Bretonnia's noble families, renowned for its richness, strength, chivalry, and formidable defences. Bretonnia stands as a bastion of stability and prosperity within the Old World. Nonetheless, Bretonnia harbours its share of challenges. The mountains harbour greenskins, while foul creatures lurk within the forests. Widespread starvation afflicts many peasants, and instances of knights concealing brutality behind a facade of courtesy are not uncommon. Even the exquisite flavours of the cuisine frequently disguise spoiled ingredients. Some cynics suggest that Bretonnia veils deep-seated corruption beneath a facade of fairness, while more charitable observers lament the disparity between its ideals and the harsh realities of daily life. Nevertheless, the stark contrast between perception and reality in Bretonnia is impossible to overlook for those familiar with the kingdom. The majority of nobles reside within imposing fortresses nestled in rural landscapes, often accompanied by surrounding villages. Only a select few ducal castles safeguard developed towns, mirroring the names of their respective provinces. Within Bretonnia, urban life is viewed with skepticism, deemed suitable only for the destitute and downtrodden. Predominantly situated in coastal regions, the largest towns serve as bustling seaports, serving as vital hubs of commerce and anchoring points for the Bretonnian naval fleets. The Dukedom of Couronne stands as one of the foundational provinces situated along the northern coast of Bretonnia, serving as the central seat of power for the king's royal court. Renowned for its exceptional horsemanship, Couronne boasts some of the realm's most skilled equestrians, a reputation not to be underestimated, and a land where prowess in the saddle is held in high regard. Bretonnia remains the sole nation in the Old World upholding a rigid feudal system as its foundation for governance and economy. This system relies on sworn oaths of loyalty and military support among aristocrats, primarily members of the hereditary military caste, within a predominantly agrarian society devoid of centralized government. Peasants constituting the base of this structure are bound by law and custom to their lands as serfs, obligated to provide goods and services to higher-ranking nobility in exchange for military protection and certain legal rights. At the core of Bretonnian society are the subsistence peasants, obligated to serve and obey their noble overlords in return for protection from external threats. Above them stand the Bretonnian lords, tasked with safeguarding their lands and subjects, and obligated to fight for the king when called to war in exchange for land and title. Below the king lie the Bretonnian dukes, who wield considerable authority within their domains, but remain subject to the king's directives, enabling them to flout realm laws within their dukedoms unless directly countermanded by the king. The pinnacle of this social hierarchy is occupied by the king, or royarch, whose rule is absolute, unrestricted by any laws within the realm. According to time-honoured tradition, the king of Bretonnia must ascend as a Grail Knight, chosen through a conclave convened by as many Grail Knights as can gather at the Grail Council of Bastogne upon the death of the preceding royarch. This selection, made unanimously, is subsequently validated by the Fey Enchantress, the sacred emissary of the Lady of the Lake. Following the conclusive decision, The Fey Enchantress officiates a lifelong coronation ceremony for the new Royarch within the historic Grail Cathedral of Bastogne. While the king theoretically wields unchecked authority, effective rulership often necessitates consideration of the desires of powerful nobles. In practice, Bretonnian kings epitomize chivalry, justice, and valor, striving to enhance the well-being of their subjects and eradicate injustice. Their power serves as a deterrent against abuses inflicted by lesser nobility upon the peasantry, a recurrent issue in Bretonnian politics. Integral to Bretonnian society are the codes of chivalry, also referred to as the chivalric code, which dictates the conduct of the nobility. Originating from the warriors' customs of the ancient Bretonnie tribes predating the kingdom's formation, this code was formally instituted during the coronation of Gilles le Breton, the inaugural Royarch. Serving as a quasi-legal framework, the Code of Chivalry governs the management of Bretonnian dukedoms, shaping the behavior of the nobility. There are 7 commandments that every knight must follow: to serve the Lady of the Lake, to defend the domains entrusted to him, to protect the weak and fight for the right, always to fight the enemies of virtue and order, never to give up the fight until the foe be defeated, never to break faith with a friend or ally, always to display honor and courtesy. Apart from the commandments, there are certain rules of honor which are adhered to and respected by the knights. The most important rules are as follows. A knight may only fight hand to hand, with sword or lance. He may not use a missile weapon. A knight shall always accept a challenge towards personal combat. A knight shall not draw sword against his fellow Bretonnian knights, except in trial by combat, or within a tournament. A knight shall not allow himself to be captured alive. A knight shall not flee from the enemy, nor retreat without proper tactical cause. There are 2 main religious doctrines that are followed within the kingdom of Bretonnia. The main religion is that of the cult of the Lady, highly revered within Bretonnia, yet scarcely acknowledged beyond its borders. The Lady of the Lake stands as the patron goddess of purity, nobility, and courage in the face of adversity. Revered as the epitome of womanhood, she embodies the romantic ideal every knight aspires to serve with unwavering devotion. To many nobles, the Lady, along with her cult, symbolizes the essence of Bretonnia, an elemental manifestation of the land and guardian of its people. Sacred groves and mystical pools serve as her sanctuaries, guarded by the esteemed Grail Knights, who dedicate themselves to her honor and purity, ensuring her sacred sites remain untainted by malevolent forces. The Bretonnian Code of Chivalry finds its divine sanction in the Lady of the Lake, for it is she who bestows rewards upon valor and virtue. The ultimate mark of a knight's favor lies in receiving her personal divine blessing, bestowed through drinking from her chalice, said to contain the pure lifeblood of the land itself. Across Bretonnia, Grail chapels stand as testaments to her divine presence, ranging from modest shrines to grand fortress cathedrals integrated into noble estates. Second only to the revered cult of the Lady, the cult of Chalier holds paramount importance within Bretonnian society. Amidst the harsh realities of peasant life, the compassionate and merciful Chalier brings solace, offering respite from suffering in villages, towns, and cities across the realm. While the Lady of the Lake champions ideals of chivalry and noble conduct amongst the aristocracy, Chalier extends her care to all, shedding crystalline tears for the hardships endured by the populace, seeking only to alleviate their burdens and provide comfort in a harsh world. The symbol of the cult, a white dove in flight, embodies its message of compassion and hope. Embraced by peasantry and nobility alike, the cult of Chalier enjoys widespread popularity, with Bretonnian peasants never straying far from a shrine dedicated to their benevolent goddess. Such is the devotion to Chalier that even nobles have begun endowing small shrines near Grail chapels, giving rise to Grail convents, a practice gaining rapid momentum. Notably, the cult's main temple now resides within Castle Couronne, boasting the official patronage of the royal court and the reigning monarch himself. Bretonnia has many heroic figures within their realm, all of which have performed otherworldly feats. Some of note are Gilles le Breton, renowned as Gilles the Uniter and revered as the Green Knight, stands as the esteemed founder of Bretonnia and among the foremost Grail Knights in history. Before ascending to the status of the Lady's avatar, he already commanded unmatched prowess on the battlefield, his martial skill rendering him nearly invincible, infused with the essence of an elder god, he epitomized unparalleled might in the old world, emerging as an indomitable force that no adversary, mortal or monstrous, could vanquish in single combat. Clad in the guise of the Green Knight, during his stewardship as the guardian of the Lady of the Lake, he safeguarded Bretonia's holiest sites from threats of annihilation. Within the tainted forests, he earned the dread moniker Shabkek, the Soul Killer, for his relentless crusade against the Beastmen, laying waste to untold legions of their kind. Manifesting from ethereal green mists, he wielded swift justice, disappearing as swiftly as he appeared. Gilles possessed the ability to shift his form, rendering him as insubstantial as mist or impervious as stone, with weapons finding scant purchase against his formidable stature. Even in death or defeat, he would rise once more, undeterred and resolute, to continue his ceaseless vigil. The Fey Enchantress serves as the earthly embodiment of the Lady of the Lake and holds unrivaled authority over her devoted followers. As both the foremost political and spiritual figure in Bretonnia, the Fey Enchantress plays a pivotal role in the coronation of each new king and possesses the authority to dispose of a reigning monarch if deemed necessary. Across the annals of history, numerous individuals have assumed the mantle of the Fey Enchantress, each bearing different names. Presently, Morgiana Le Fay holds the esteemed title. Speculation abounds regarding the nature of the Fey Enchantress's existence. Some believe her to have endured through the ages, spanning millennia, while others posit the theory of instantaneous reincarnation upon the passing of each Fey Enchantress, ensuring the perpetuation of her sacred duty. And Léon Léoncourt, revered as the Lion-Hearted and hailed as the Lion of Bretonnia and the Golden Paladin, holds the esteemed titles of Duke of Couronne and Grail Knight, marking him as one of the realm's foremost warriors and leaders. As a ruler, Léon is celebrated for his unwavering commitment to justice and fairness, ensuring that all voices are heard in his court and that the noble intent of law is upheld above all else. His decrees ensure that no one suffers consequences for speaking freely during audience sessions, embodying the principles of equity and righteousness. On the battlefield, King Léon Léoncourt proves himself a formidable adversary, displaying masterful strategic acumen and serving as a divine champion of the Lady of the Lake. His mere presence strikes fear into the hearts of enemies, be they vampires, greenskins, or beastmen, as none can stand against his righteous charge atop the noble hippogriff Bequis, adorned with the blessed crown of Bretonnia and wielding the legendary sword of Couronne, forged from exquisite Bretonnian silverine. King Léon embodies the epitome of valor in battle, dedicated to smiting evil and defending his realm. Rumors abound regarding King Léon's apparent cessation of the aging process, with many attributing it to the lady's favor or the mystical influence of the Grail itself. Light is said to radiate from any wound inflicted upon him, a testament to the divine power coursing through his veins and the eternal blessing bestowed upon him by the lady. The Bretonnian military, a formidable force, revolves around a core of gallant knights, bolstered by throngs of humble peasants. Feared and revered across the realms, the Knights of Bretonnia command awe and respect. Paragons of valor and integrity, they epitomize heroism, defending a land steeped in noble ideals, with unwavering devotion to the Lady of the Lake, and in service to their dukes and kings. They vanquish evil on the battlefield with unmatched prowess, their charge heralding victory against all who oppose them. Knights errant, the youngest and most eager, occupy the lowest rung of Bretonnian cavalry squadrons and noble hierarchy. These youthful warriors, full of vigor but lacking experience, form a significant portion of many armies, mounted on horseback as they seek to prove themselves worthy of the esteemed title of Knight of the Realm. On the battlefield, mounted on their steeds, they fearlessly confront formidable enemy forces, driven by their eagerness to prove themselves worthy. Despite the risks, seasoned knights seldom deter their younger counterparts, recognizing their fervor as a natural aspect of youth. While some view it as a means of thinning the ranks and others as a fitting expression of youthful zeal, none would deny a young knight the pursuit of his destined path. Knights of the Realm, stalwarts of Bretonnian forces, constitute the backbone of the ruling elite. Having distinguished themselves in errantry, they've earned fiefs or positions of power within noble society. Charged with defending their lords and kingdom, they epitomize valor and faith, wielding lance and unwavering belief in the Lady of the Lake from horseback. On the battlefield, Knights of the Realm assemble alongside peers of equal standing, Constituting the mainstay of many Bretonnian cavalry formations, they willingly confront the most formidable adversaries to assert their valor, serving as the steadfast cornerstone of Bretonnian knightly units. Pegasus Knights, elite warriors astride mighty Pegasi, descend upon the battlefield from the heavens, delivering devastation upon their foes. Unlike conventional cavalry, these adept knights soar through the skies, engaging flying adversaries with lance and sword, their angelic wings granting them unparalleled superiority. The Pegasus surpasses even the most formidable warhorse in strength and swiftness, capable of delivering devastating blows with its powerful hooves and traversing vast distances with remarkable speed. During battles, clusters of Pegasus knights unite, frequently outpacing the main army as they seek out honorable engagements. Questing knights, relinquishing their social status for a spiritual journey, embark on quests in pursuit of the Grail. Slaying monsters and vanquishing evil, they demonstrate faith, purity, and honor in hopes of sipping from the Grail and ascending to Grail Knight status. Equipped with the traditional armaments of the quest, a double-handed sword and a shield adorned with the fleur de lis, questing knights are celebrated heroes across Bretonnia, renowned for their daring exploits in pursuit of attaining the esteemed status of a Grail Knight. Many of these valiant warriors acquire mystical trinkets and artifacts during their journeys, enhancing their already formidable combat prowess. Despite their pledge to forsake lances, some of the most illustrious questing knights are deemed worthy to wield them. The years of a questing knight's life are fraught with trials and tribulations that fortify their mind, body, and spirit. Their journey is an arduous one, marked by a vow to never spend 2 consecutive nights in the same place and to persist in their quest until their final breath. Leading a solitary existence, with only the Lady of the Lake as their guiding companion, questing knights traverse vast distances, often venturing beyond the borders of Bretonnia itself. Guided by divine visions, they engage in numerous battles against formidable adversaries, confronting monstrous beasts like manticores, dragons, and chimeras, as well as engaging in duels against Chaos Knights and other nefarious foes. Grail Knights, legendary heroes blessed with longevity and extraordinary power, embody the pinnacle of Bretonnian chivalry. Their unmatched skill and fearlessness make them revered warriors, the epitome of holy prowess and bravery among the ranks of cavalry. Only a select few knights embark on the perilous journey to attain the Grail, traversing the treacherous landscapes of the old world, confronting formidable adversaries, and undertaking heroic feats. Even fewer survive the sacred imbuing from the chalices of blessed waters, emerging as paragons of purity and valor among knights. Transformed by the divine touch of the Grail, these revered warriors pledge unwavering allegiance to the Lady of the Lake, their stature and presence elevated to awe-inspiring heights. In battle, they endure hardships with unmatched resilience, instilling fear in mighty foes and commanding unwavering loyalty from allies with their resounding voices. Shielded from fear and despair, they defy the very essence of mortality. Blessed with extended lifespans and bestowed with extraordinary gifts, their very presence radiates with divine power, imbuing their weapons with holy might and enveloping their steeds in an ethereal mist. No longer reliant on prayers for protection, they stand as invincible bulwarks against the forms of malevolent forces, their essence forever intertwined with the sacred grace of the Grail. There are also several variations of Grail Knight. Grail Guardians, revered and esteemed across Bretonnia, the Fey Enchantress holds a position of unparalleled respect, ever accompanied by a cadre of valiant knights who defend her unwaveringly. These select warriors, drawn from the elite ranks of Grail Knights, epitomize martial excellence, despite whispers suggesting the Fey Enchantress herself requires no earthly protection. The Grail Guardians remain steadfast in their duty, confronting Bretonnia's foes with righteous blades. Royal Pegasus Knights, elevated beyond ordinary Pegasus Knights, these Grail Knights bear the esteemed King's royal insignia, granting them command over majestic royal Pegasi, among the rarest of steeds. Only Bretonnia's noblest souls can master these dignified creatures, wielding them as formidable aerial weapons, raining down divine justice from on high. Royal Hippogriff Knights, adorned with the King's royal insignia, these Grail Knights have subjugated and tamed fearsome hippogriffs. Charging into battle atop these colossal creatures, they represent an indomitable force. Blending extraordinary skill with primal ferocity, they vanquish their adversaries with lethal talons and blessed lances, instilling terror and chaos in their wake. And Hermit Knights, the venerable guardians of Grail chapels, embody the twilight years of Grail Knights, whose immortal aura gradually fades as they approach the end of their extended lifespans. Charged with the solemn duty of safeguarding the sacred relics within these chapels, Hermit Knights stand as stalwart sentinels, prepared to defend their hallowed grounds with unwavering resolve. In times of dire need, it is these revered guardians who grant access to the ancient weapons housed within the chapels, bestowing upon worthy successors the tools necessary for their noble quests. Additionally, Hermit Knights serve as custodians of wisdom and guidance, offering counsel and insights to aspiring knights who still embark on the quest for the elusive Grail. Paladins, revered champions renowned for their chivalry and combat prowess, inspire Bretonnian armies with their noble deeds. Held in high esteem for their valor, they epitomize the ideals of knighthood, standing as beacons of honor and courage against all forms of evil. Paladins stand as formidable champions among Bretonnia's esteemed knighthood, distinguished by their unparalleled combat prowess and illustrious battlefield triumphs. Renowned for their valor and martial expertise, they surpass their peers, rivaling the greatest heroes of the Empire and often surpassing them in martial prowess. While some ascend from the esteemed ranks of the Knights of the Realm, others achieve the lofty status of superhuman Grail Knights. Adorned in enchanted arms and armor, certain paladins are even bestowed with the honor of riding majestic Pegasi into battle. Some are blessed with minor magical abilities bestowed by the lady herself, such as radiant halos, further enhancing their legendary status. Bretonnian Lords, epitomes of nobility and martial prowess, lead armies as elite commanders. These mighty warriors, including barons and dukes, command respect and admiration, their deeds celebrated throughout the realm as they uphold the codes of chivalry with unwavering dedication. Bretonnian lords epitomize the noble ideals of chivalry and valor, leading their armies from horseback with unmatched gallantry. Unlike leaders of other realms, Bretonnian lords shun the notion of fighting on foot, considering it beneath their station, unless faced with dire circumstances. These illustrious heroes inspire their knights with unwavering courage, fearlessly leading charges into the heart of enemy ranks. Many follow the esteemed paths of virtue, embodying the martial prowess and noble virtues of the Grail companions. Endowed with a remarkable resilience, they endure wounds that would fell lesser warriors, and dispatch multiple foes with each strike of their blade or thrust of their lances. Their legendary exploits ensure their immortality, as tales of their valor echo through the annals of history, long after they depart from the mortal realm. The Sons of Bretonnia, also known as the Lost Sons, are the mystical knights of Bretonnia. Born with innate magical abilities, they were taken by the lady at a tender age. While damsels were permitted to return to their homeland, the Lost Sons remained as the lady's personal attendants and aides, venturing to battle only in the direst of circumstances. Each knight was a formerly stolen boy of Bretonnia, maturing into a formidable and dignified figure, clad in ancient silver armor and wielding an array of peculiar mystical weapons, their pallid complexions emitting a faint glow, and their eyes shimmered with the lady's divine radiance. Essentially serving as a martial counterpart to the lady's damsels, the Lost Sons were esteemed warriors, surpassed in renown only by the revered Grail Knights themselves. There are also magical casters to behold within the ranks of the Bretonnian army. When children manifest unusual abilities, feared and misunderstood by superstitious villagers, the Fey Enchantress, emissary of the Divine Lady of the Lake, intervenes before tragedy strikes. Under the shroud of midnight, she clandestinely whisks away these gifted youths to an enigmatic realm, sparing them from the fearful ignorance of their peers. While their sudden vanishing leaves families grieving, tales persist of girls reappearing years later, their return as enigmatic as their initial departure. There are 3 schools of magic that are used. The lore of beasts harnesses the primal energies of Gur, the brown wind of magic. Drawing from the untamed realms where wilderness reigns supreme, Gur manifests as a fierce and chilling force, surging from the depths of remote wilderness. Where civilization's grasp weakens, it gathers strength within dense forests, lurks inside murky swamps, and sweeps across towering peaks. The lore of beasts has spells that allow the user to grow powerful claws, summon spirits to help distract enemies, transform into various beasts such as wolves and bears, the power to encourage allies, and many more. The lore of life draws its power from Gyron, the jade wind of magic, suffused with the essence of vitality and renewal. Gyron's energies cascade like gentle rain upon the land, pooling in natural waterways and intertwining with the lifeblood of the earth. Thus, its magic is intrinsically linked with water, vegetation, and the interconnected web of living beings. Spells woven from the law of life evoke the harmonious dance of nature as vines, foliage, trees, and rivers respond to the druid's command, manifesting as a symphony of natural phenomena. The law of life has spells that allow the user to cast cloaks of energy to shield people, release powerful geysers from the earth, regenerate runes, cover areas with thick frost, and many more. The law of the heavens harnesses the power of Azir, the blue wind of magic, which resides high in the atmosphere. Elusive and ever-changing, Azir's presence is felt in the celestial realm, swirling in intricate patterns across the heavens, distant and untouchable. While it remains beyond easy manipulation, gusts of Azir can stir the air into storms, alter the weather, and even draw celestial bodies like meteorites or comets from the void, with the proper incantations. The law of the heaven has spells that allow the user to cast razor blades of wind, the cooling down of comets, bolts of lightning, illumination of the world around them, and many more. Grail damsels, lesser servants of the lady, specialize in protective magic, healing, and dispelling hostile enchantments. Guided by the lady's will, they traverse the land to combat evil and corruption, aiding armies, questing knights, and safeguarding holy sites. They specialize in either the law of life or the law of beasts, wielding this benevolent magic to support the noble knights of Bretonnia. Prophetesses, esteemed devotees of the Lady, wield potent elemental magic that influences battle outcomes. Their mastery over air, water, flora, and fauna can alter the course of conflicts, conjuring storms, mists, and lightning bolts to aid Bretonnian forces. Their mastery of magic far surpasses that of lower-ranking damsels, excelling in harnessing the forces of nature through the law of life or the law of beasts. Some prophetesses opt to command the celestial energies of the skies, a skill beyond the reach of damsels, by employing the law of heavens. Additionally, they possess the gift of prophecy and offer wise counsel to the highest nobles. Traveling throughout Bretonnia, they dispense their guidance to various individuals as they deem necessary. Beyond the knights and ladies are the peasant armies. Only the most capable and robust peasants are conscripted into the military ranks, permitted to wield bows due to their perceived lack of noble honor to defend. In the Duchy of Baston, it is mandated by law that every able peasant youth must undergo longbow training. Through enforcement of this degree is sporadic, and few possess the means or skills to procure or craft bows. Similar regulations likely exist in other duchies, with comparable outcomes, as crossbows and gunpowder weapons remain largely unfamiliar in Bretonnia. Peasant mobs represent the humblest elements within a Bretonnian army. The existence of a Bretonnian peasant is characterized by thanklessness, poverty, and, if fate allows, brevity. Nonetheless, it is their obligation to toil, pay homage, and perish in the service of their liege. Peasant bowmen, armed with longbows, enabling them to offer ranged support to the army. Despite the nobles' consent, driven by their perception of peasants lacking honor, they do not furnish the bowmen with equipment, leaving them to rely on whatever they can bring to the battlefield. Men-at-arms serve as the staple frontline infantry, selected from youth for training and equipped with fundamental weaponry to defend their lords. Clad predominantly in chainmail, these soldiers reluctantly fulfill their duty, safeguarding noble holdings or holding enemy advances with shield and spear, while knights flank and secure victory. Battle pilgrims, although unofficially recognized, consist of either wild peasants or fervent devotees of Grail brotherhoods, ardently believing in their chosen Grail knight's sanctity. Armed with the discarded gear and homemade weapons, they offer Bretonnian armies steadfast infantry and diversionary arrow targets. Mounted yeomen represent an elite tier among Bretonnia's peasant warriors, assuming leadership roles within men-at-arms companies and serving as a form of mounted light cavalry. Despite skepticism from some knights who dismiss the notion of elite peasant warriors, arguing it to be an oxymoron, mounted yeomen have proven themselves nearly as skilled as knight-errants. While they lack the superior equipment of the nobility, their dedication and martial prowess set them apart, earning them justified pride in their ability. This dedication has elevated many yeomen to dedicated professionals, distinguishing them from the ordinary mass of men-at-arms. Bretonnian squires constitute the peasant elite of Bretonnia, distinguished by superior armament and armor compared to the other commoners, selected from the youngest and most robust within a lord's retinue. They stand as the most proficient fighters among the knight's entourage. Their primary responsibilities include the care of the knight's armor and warhorse, along with overseeing feudal domains, combating brigands, and maintaining vigilance against intruders. Additionally, squires serve as errand runners for their lords, undertaking menial or undesirable tasks delegated by their masters. However, on the battlefield, they unleash every ounce of skill and ferocity acquired through training, wielding their two-handed blades to carve through adversaries in the name of the lady, Bretonnia, and personal renown. Beyond the regular units of the armies, Bretonnians will sometimes employ machines of war, though they hold a disdainful view towards siege weaponry, considering them as cowardly and dishonorable tools of war. They reluctantly employ only one such device out of sheer necessity: trebuchets, the sole accepted siege engine, a colossal machine utilized to hurl large projectiles at enemy formations from a safe distance. Varying in design, these machines can launch projectiles ranging from cannonball-sized rocks to structures as large as peasants' hovels. Beyond that, blessed trebuchets represent a superior variant of their regular counterparts. Blessed by the priestesses of the lady, they are imbued with divine favor, enabling them to hurl enormous enchanted boulders at the enemy with devastating effect. Bretonnia also possess a fleet. Bretonnians have long boasted of their prowess as sailors in the old world. Their fleet is indeed a sight to behold. Galleons stand as formidable vessels within the Bretonnian fleet. Typically, a Bretonnian fleet finds its flagship in a galleon, a massive vessel comparable to the great ships of the Empire. Despite their size, these ships boast surprising speed and agility, a testament to both their crew's skill and the vessel's design. Manned by volunteers, these ships are crewed by an elite cadre, often led by charismatic and daring captains. Bretonnian corsairs represent the backbone of the Bretonnian fleet's naval power. Heavily armed yet swift, these vessels are crafted for both prolonged voyages and fierce combat engagements. Deployed in long lines, they maneuver adeptly, seeking openings in enemy battle formations to deliver devastating broadside assaults as they navigate between adversary ships. Buccaneers constitute the smaller vessels within the Bretonnian fleet, typically tasked with coastal patrols along Bretonnia's shores. These ships are frequently owned and manned by private individuals under the King's Charter to safeguard maritime routes. Armed with catapults, they often harbour crews comprised of dubious characters and pardoned criminals, with weapons securely stored until moments before engaging in combat. Bretonnia's cultural impact resonates throughout the Old World, shaping ideals of valour and nobility among neighbouring realms. Its tales of heroic quests and Grail Knights inspire awe and admiration, fostering a romanticized image of knighthood that transcends borders. Moreover, Bretonnia's staunch dedication to the Lady of the Lake and the values she represents imbues its influence with a spiritual dimension, drawing pilgrims and seekers from distant lands in search of enlightenment and divine favor. Thus, Bretonnia's legacy extends far beyond its territorial boundaries, leaving an indelible mark on the collective consciousness of the world.